Hey, groovy people, I'm John. I'm a retired math teacher. I taught grade school, middle school, and high school math for 36 years. And this is a shout out to Danny. Danny wanted to go over equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. And for everybody else, I have your free math needs at this website, mrmathblog.com. You'll find second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth, seventh, and eighth, all of high school. Everything is free. I have test reviews there, everything, the whole year on most of those classes, the whole book. So, and then you can go to that site, that platform right there, and subscribe. That's where I upload all the videos right here that I've made. And again, they're free, but they're all in nice order here where you just click the link and it takes you to the video on that platform right there. Okay. All right. Okay, Danny, here we go. So slope, we got to deal with slope with parallel and perpendicular lines. So if they give you 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, then the slope is I do this y minus this y, that's what this says, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, over second x minus the first x right here. Or you can do the first y minus the second y on top, as long as you do the first x minus the second x on bottom. And how I remember which one goes on top and which one goes on bottom is x has 2 legs, my elbows are my legs, and they will be more sturdy to hold up the y's. The y's only have 1 leg and it would fall over. So I remember a student named Heather told me that 20 something years ago, and that was a good gimmick on remembering, you guys. So right on, Heather, wherever you are. So here's a slope, you guys, if it's written in standard form, and we'll have one like this towards the end, ax plus by equals c. If it's written in standard form, your slope is you take the opposite of the number that's in front of x. Here it's negative a, or opposite a, I like to say, because sometimes a is negative, so you got to take opposite. Divided by whatever b is, the number in front of y. That's how you find the slope of that. Okay, and then if it's written in slope-intercept form, most people are familiar with y equals mx plus b. This is my slope. The m is my slope right here. If it's written in point-slope form, which is y minus some number, which is a known y value, equals m times the quantity x minus some known x value, then your slope is just that number right there. So it's the number in front of x on either one of those. Okay, and we need that for parallel and perpendicular. Okay, so parallel lines have the same slope or equal slopes. Perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. So if one is positive, the other one's negative, and reciprocal is just to flip it upside down. So or revert or inverse, some people call it inverse. And instead of writing the word parallel out, there is a symbol in math that are 2 lines that look like they're parallel, and perpendicular is an upside down capital T. It's in all math books, and I'm going to write it like this from now on, so I don't have to write those big long words, especially the perpendicular ones. So all right, so here we go. So write an equation of the line that passes through -3, -5. So this is x, this is y. The ordered pairs are always in alphabetical order. X comes before y in the alphabet. And is A parallel to and B perpendicular to this line, y equals 3x minus 1. Okay, they gave us this equation so I can see there's the slope of this equation. So a parallel slope is going to be the same, and a perpendicular slope is going to be, flip it upside down, that's 3 over 1. If there's no number underneath it, it's understood to be 1. So 3 over 1, flip it, becomes 1 over 3, except it's negative because it's an opposite sign. So parallel slope is going to be the same as that slope right there, and perpendicular slope is the opposite. Since that's positive, this is negative, and then the reciprocal of 3, which is 3 over 1, is 1 over 3, okay? All right, so now I'm going to go, this one's going to be y equals 3x plus b. This one's going to be y equals -1/3 x plus b. And I'm assuming they put it in slope-intercept form, so we're going to leave our answer in slope-intercept form. In the next one, I'll put it in standard form, so we'll convert it back to standard form. Okay, so we got to figure out b, and then we're done. And so we have the two equations. Here's the parallel equation, y equals 3x plus b. The perpendicular is y equals negative 1/3 x plus b. And then I'm going to substitute in, this is my x, this is my y, for this x and this y, and for this x and this y. And then we'll just solve for b on both of those. Okay, so I'm just substituting in -3, -5 for the x's in both of them and for the y's in both of them. So there they are right there, and we just got to get b. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 3 times -3 is -9, so I'm going to write down -5 equals -9 plus b. And then over here, a negative times a negative is a positive, and then 1/3 times 3 is 1, so -5 equals 1 plus b, and then we just solve for b on both of those, okay? So here I am going to, on this one, I'm going to go +9, +9. On this one, I'm going to go -1, -1 right there, okay? And then so -5 plus 9 is +4. And -5 minus 1 is -6. So these are my b's right here. So b equals 4 is going to go right there. And then b equals -6 is going to go right there. And then that's our equation. So we're done. So the parallel equation, I just substituted in those b values back up into up here. So the parallel equation is y equals 3x plus 4. And the perpendicular one is y equals -1/3 x minus 6. So we just plugged in those b's, and those are the answers, okay? All right, let's try one more where it's in standard form, okay? So this one's going through -2, 5, and this is in standard form, okay? So we're going to do the same thing, write an equation that's parallel and perpendicular. I'm going to do the y equals mx plus b first, and then convert it into standard form. Most people are more, there's other ways to do this, you guys. You can put it in point slope form, or you can put it in standard form, but the easiest way I can get most kids to buy in is to put them in slope intercept form first and just convert it over into standard form right there. Okay, so the slope is opposite a over b. That's what this says. The slope is opposite a over b. So it's -2 over 4, and that reduces to -1/2. So parallel slope is the same, -1/2, and the perpendicular slope is to flip it. -1/2, flip it, becomes 2 over 1. And since that's negative, we want the perpendicular to be positive. Okay, so there's my parallel slope. It's the same as this one, and the perpendicular is to flip it and change the sign right there. Okay, so this one's going to be y equals -1/2 x plus b. This one's going to be y equals 2x plus b. And then we'll use that point, the 2, -5, and substitute that in for the x's and the y's. So all I did is I just wrote the beginning of the equations. We're going to get b, and then we're going to convert it back to standard form. Okay, so here's x, here's y for this x and this y, and this x and this y. So -2 is going to go here and here, and then 5 is going to go here and here. Okay, and then we just solve for b like we did before, and then we have one more step on this. We got to convert it back over to standard form. So there's my substitution right there. Okay, now I'm going to highlight these in red. -2 times -1/2, and negative times a negative is a positive, so this is going to be 1. This one's going to be, so they sure look like 5. This one's going to be 2 times -2, which is -4. So here we go. I'm just going to highlight those right there, and gets me to this. Sorry, my papers are sticking together. So there we go right there. So I did these two guys gets me that, multiply these two guys gets me that. Now to solve for b, here I'm going to go +4, +4. Here I'm going to go -1, -1. And that's going to get the b's, and we'll put it in slope intercept form first, and then we'll convert it over. So there it is right there. So here, 5 plus 4 is 9. Over here, 5 minus 1 is 4. So this 9 goes right here, and this 4 goes right here. Now remember, these are in slope-intercept form. I'm going to rewrite these equations on the next page at the top because I'm running out of room down there. So I'm going to write this and this at the top right there, and then convert it over to standard form. Okay, so standard form is ax plus by equals c. So here's my parallel equation, here's my perpendicular equation, and we're going to convert it over here. So now I didn't say this, but standard form is these cannot be fractions. So I'm going to first, that's why I have so much space here, I'm going to get rid of this fraction by multiplying it by the denominator, this times 2, but that means I got to multiply that times 2 and that times 2. Okay, so because standard form, the a, b, and c, they can't be fractions or decimals. So we got to get rid of the fractions. So there I did that right there. So here I have 2y, here the 2's cancel, I have negative x plus 8, and then my answer for my parallel guy is I just got to put the x over here. So I'm going to go plus x, and then over here I'll go plus x right there to get rid of that minus x right there. So that's going to get me to my answer of the parallel equation, x plus 2y equals 8. And then this one, I just got to put this over here. So the x part has to come first. So I'm going to go minus 2x on both sides. Now, I don't know if depending on your teacher, they might take that and or that, but they might say put it in standard form. So that's what I'm doing, is putting it in standard form, because that's typically what teachers want you to do. So anyway, so I just subtracted 2x on both sides, so I get negative 2x plus y equals 9 for that guy right there. Okay, hope that helps, Daniel. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.